Firebrand, you're due for the class on Guarding 101.
My voice is shot. I've yelled at them enough. Can we get someone else?
Well, we'd need to get some pony who's a teacher and has a military background.
Point 50. Do not leave your post for cake. This is alarmingly common for some reason. Point 51. Do not leave your post when an attractive mare walks by. Point 52. Spears are piercing weapons, not bludgeoning weapons. To add to that point, if you're a unicorn, use your magic to help you wield that spear. If you don't have a spear, use your horn. Point 53, and this is the most important point. If anything happens that is out of the ordinary, report it. What are your questions regarding this phase of your instruction?
Could you go over that point again?
Which point?
All of it.
I see your problem.
In one ear and out the other?
They're not dumb, they're just written that way.
One time, I would like them to have a cool moment. Just once!
If you're done whining, now it's time for his payment.
Oh, I get paid for this?
With a collab.
I think I see another one of your problems. Before we get into this, I want to point out this episode was written by Josh Haber and, Dave Polsky, my old nemesis. We meet again. I was pretty hard on Mr. Polsky in my How to Fix It series. I know these are often written in committee, so I feel kind of bad about that. And Mr. Haber's a pretty good story editor.
Wait a minute. These episodes aren't always written by one person? But they're credited as being written by one person. I mean, sometimes two, but...
Now, I could be wrong, but my understanding is this comes down to Writers Guild of America rules. The primary writer gets primary credit, and writers who help out are given secondary and tertiary bylines. A lot of these questions come down to union rules.
The more I learn about the industry, the less inclined I feel to tear them a new one. I keep learning all these bizarre rules and guidelines that make it impossible to figure out who's responsible for an episode's end quality.
This is tip of the iceberg, my friend. A director can't move let's say a desk. He has to tell him, loads the desk, and the set guys move it. He can't touch it. Or according to union rules, he's taking away someone else's job. It's a miracle anything gets done, let alone done well.
Yeesh. I guess with the convenience of how our entertainment is delivered to us, we take it for granted. There are so many behind-the-scenes shenanigans. It's easy for us to judge something when we've never been a part of that world and all of its different rules. Take Butch Hartman, for instance. When he threw shade at critics of his work because of their lack of knowledge of the industry, people were very quick to jump down his throat. Could he have expressed himself more gracefully? Absolutely. But the point is, we don't know what goes into the stuff we consume, and it's so easy to be flippant in our criticism and pretend that the way to fix it is so obvious and they should have known. Maybe they ran out of time. Maybe an order on high forced them to change something. We don't know. We don't know. Unless we have intimate knowledge of the animation process and standard operating procedures of a specific animation company, putting any blame on specific individuals in the production process is ignorant at best and unjust at worst. Now, if something is bad, by all means, call it out. But keep in mind that you might be putting the wrong person on blast.
Bottom line, nothing personal, Dave. Anyhow, this episode opens up with the first post-Cutie Mark meeting of the CMCs, and they can't get much done because they're too busy gloating over them. I love the way the writers here decided to refresh the CMC. Getting their marks was overdue, and finding a new role for them really helps keep their story arc moving.
That's typically how it goes. When a character's arc ends, then they can begin another, depending if you want their story to continue. Just because you reach a goal doesn't mean it has to be the end.
What if it's not everything I dreamed it would be?
It will be.
And what if it is? What do I do then?
Well, that's the good part, I guess. You get to go find a new dream.
The CMC learned a lot when they got their marks. I noticed that the lesson they learned, the process of acquiring their marks and helping others, proved even more valuable than their goal, the marks themselves. That was an almost Buddhist observation. And I actually called out, "There's the breakthrough they needed," right before their marks appeared.
Crusaders, we spend an awful lot of time fussing and fretting trying to discover our true talent, But when we take a little time off, we end up helping other ponies figure out their true talent.
Yeah, and I think that's way more important than worrying about our cutie marks. Don't you?
Absolutely. I don't care if I ever get my cutie marks, as long as I get to hang out with my best friends. So what do you say, Crusaders? Want to just focus on helping others find their cutie marks? Yeah!
Now it's time to learn some new lessons.
However, here's my worry with this new development. We always knew what the end of their first arc would be, the acquisition of their marks, so that makes this episode all the more crucial. It will define their new direction and what we can expect from them. In layman's terms, what's the new dream? Let's see if we get that answer.
Look, I know our cutie marks are amazing, but is that all we're gonna do now? Just spend our day staring down at our own flanks?
Isn't that how politicians spend their time?
Look, Apple Bloom, when someone gets gains, you have to let them Schwarzenegger it up. It's part of the process.
Also, I know it's been said, but I just gotta give points to Miss Krieber for her VO work throughout this episode. She pretty much carries this one.
Well, they did have some help from the stock sound effects.
Or square dancing on the mountain we just climbed.
Fluttershy needed Poison Joke for that. Eat your heart out.
Yeah, if Miss Peters sang that yodel, now I'm impressed. And did the Crusaders just enjoy doing all that stuff so much they want to keep doing it anyway?
And the more things we try, the more chances we'll have to finally get our cutie marks. Come on!
Apple Bloom? So now that we don't have to do stuff to get our cutie marks, what is it that the Cutie Mark Crusaders actually do?
I can just imagine the people in the writing room asking that question. So they try asking around, starting with Big Mac, and almost get run over.
Nope.
Okay, good on you, Big Mac. I'm a big guy and I know just how that feels. Then we get a series of shots where the CMC look for someone to help. Oh, where would storytellers be without the musical montage registered trademark?
Old habits die hard. But I'm confused. They're simply looking at the actions ponies are taking and comparing it to their marks. Does that mean they never had to help Diamond Tiara because she's always wearing it? I know I'm nitpicking, but it's something I noticed.
Would you really want to help Diamond Tiara be more bossy?
It'd give her something to do. After they got their cutie marks, she dropped out the face of the earth.
Well, the planet, we don't know it's Earth.
Stop nitpicking my nitpicks! Ugh. Why do I surround myself with pedantic people?
You have no idea.
Who knew there were so few ponies worried about their cutie marks?
Kinda makes you wonder why we made such a big deal out of it for so long. What?
No complaints, just great joke.
Yup. Holy steroids, Batman! What is that pony taking?
If it's a laxative, I don't think it's working.
Oh no, that's nightmarish.
Well, my cutie mark is a dumbbell. But I've lifted every dumbbell in Ponyville.
Have you tried lifting other things?
You mean not dumbbells?
Yeah.
Yeah!
The meme lives on! Huh, I just noticed that both Bulk Biceps and Big Mac have one-word memes. Don't groan, it only feeds her.
But what happens when I run out of other stuff?
I guess you could teach other ponies to lift things?
After accomplishing everything, teaching others. This lesson was explored in a little more depth in the My Little Pony micro-series issue 5, where Pinky's idol Pony Yachi thinks about quitting the party business entirely, but is convinced to help others become great party ponies. Just because you can't elevate yourself any higher, doesn't mean there aren't any more goals. You can elevate others.
But it appears Apple Bloom thought helping Bulk Biceps was way too easy.
And what if we never find another one? Well, and even if we do, we could solve it so quick it'll be like it never happened in the first place.
So?
Then the Cutie Mark Crusaders don't have any reason to exist!
Pretty sure that got screamed in the writer's room too. Thus end of Act 1. Okay, I want to see him meet the pony with the sad face cutie mark. Get on it, fanfic writers.
Then we get some much needed exposition about the problem, specifically why they can't leave Ponyville. Drawing attention to restrictions such as these in a natural way helps the world feel a little more alive.
I agree, but it's funnier for me to gripe about the exposition dump. No berry for you.
So, we can do things just for fun? Are you girls thinking what I'm thinking?
Sure am!
Monkey actions!
what we originally thought their cutie marks would be.
And the light dawns. They don't have that many common interests. But I will give it up for a realistic situation and— Whoa! Scoots, you are not seriously gonna ride that thing, are you?
And go! Ta-da!
How is that pony still breathing?
Have you seen any pony actually die yet?
Pear butter.
Not shown yet, doesn't count. Show has no guts.
And I have an audience. Then we move on to singing.
And 1, 2, 3.
Not only can our beloved chicken not fly, she's tone deaf.
Then where the heck did that awesomeness come from? Singing in Equestria is weird.
Well, I know this might sound crazy, but what if we didn't? Didn't what? Do things together. Well, do everything together.
This is actually a pretty good dramatic conflict for them. Pity we get to it halfway through Act 2, but, you know, Slice of Life has a slower pacing.
Isn't there something you've always wanted to do on your own? I don't know.
Oh, extroverts. The poor babies need others to live.
Interesting to learn that Apple Bloom's so dependent upon others, especially with self-reliant ponies like Big Mac and her family. So they decide to look for things to do on their own, and
I never imagined myself out on my own.
like I said, carries the episode. Singing with an accent ain't easy. And I adore this composition at the end. That's Stanley Kubrick 1-point perspective. Also interesting to find a Japanese garden bridge in a town done up in medieval European. Neat.
How would you even walk up it? Well, I suppose Dragonshy has shown us they had the power of Skyrim horses when the plot demands.
Turn down for weed.
I have no idea what... Oh,
Also, the song. It's a well-sung tune, but
not a fan of country music?
I like country music. I'm just not a fan of mopey-dopey soliloquies that tell me what I already know.
Like I said, not a fan of country music.
Alright, there's a cool bit in the montage. We have Picasso, Andy Warhol, I'm pretty sure that's Leonardo da Vinci in the back, and Salvador Dali with the melting watch cutie mark. That is all he will ever be known for.
I love Tree Hugger as a life model. And there's Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon. They've clearly buried the hatchet.
And they shall do nothing. Ever again. Forever.
I haven't missed them so far.
It's kind of weird how Diamond and Silver just don't matter anymore. It feels like they were tossed aside like garbage.
Don't tempt me. Seriously, conservation of detail, my man. Unless the story's about them, they won't be getting any more coverage.
I still think they should get a follow-up episode at the very least. They were a huge part of the Crusaders' identity throughout the whole show, so it doesn't feel right to just have them relegated to the background.
Preaching to the choir. I'm the guy who keeps wanting the focus to drift onto the supporting cast, remember? So we see that Apple Bloom hears counting, and this is the first time we've ever seen this building.
Whatever kind of dancing y'all are doing, you're doing it together, and I want in.
Extroverts, they're so needy.
I'm trying to figure out who that's a reference to. They're doing somebody with that teacher.
I think it's just an Eastern European stereotype. There's a lot of those now that I think about it, like the spa ponies.
Well, let's see what you can do. We have a recital at Town Hall tonight, and a spot just opened up.
Nice Russian accent. Who's doing that?
Tabitha!
Oh, I should have known. Of course it is. Someday they gotta do a Tabitha St. Germain solo episode.
And they start Apple Bloom off by doing the tango? I thought this was ballet.
Just the thought of horses dancing impresses me. And Act 2. Apple Bloom leaves, and a cult named Tender Taps tries to comfort her. I like this young voice actor. Who's he?
Travis Turner.
IMDb that puppy.
Not much of a pedigree, but hey, he's younger than I am.
Dang. Good job, rookie.
You just have to do it with feeling.
Ooh, that's a Sing It in the Rain move.
Good eye. Full split too, not easy.
I bet someday my cutie mark will even be about performing. But I could never dance in front of an audience the way I do in class. That's terrifying.
Fluttershy Mark II.
Yeah, okay. Nice meeting you.
The answer to Apple Bloom's problems is beating her upside the head and she doesn't even notice.
It is right there! You could just...
Sweetie Belle! You are not gonna believe this, but I think I like bungee jumping even more than scootering!
Okay, is this town gonna stage an intervention before that kid jumps out of a plane without a parachute?
he wearing a parachute? No. No, he wasn't.
But good on them if they're setting up for the washouts and Scootaloo's encounter with lightning dust.
We see that even though Scoots and Sweetie have done different things, they've responded to each other's passion. Nice to see these small touches.
And then...
Oh, hello, girls. Have fun pursuing your own interests?
I believe this trope is called Room Full of Crazy.
I think Lesson 0 Twilight might be contagious.
Apple Bloom? What are you doing sitting in the dark?
What do you think, Marge? All I need is a title.
I don't see how I'm supposed to be happy that we're not hanging out anymore.
Wait, I never said that. I just said we don't have to do everything together.
Great. Then you only have to be miserable part-time.
Frickin' extroverts. Then Apple Bloom talks about Tendertap's problem.
I don't suppose this dancing pony had a cutie mark, did he?
And boom goes the dynamite.
Suppose this dancing pony had a cutie mark, did he?
The prophecy is true.
Didn't I also tell you that dancing in front of other ponies is terrifying?
Leave everything to us.
Famous last words.
And we get akimbo Chekhov's guns with Scootaloo's bungee jumping replacing the stage and Sweetie Belle crocheting the costumes.
Chekhov's gun fu. Then we get the performance and, okay, no joke here, just a good scene. Pretty realistic too. I've seen performers who can't really bring it and think they can, and those like Taps here who have done all the work, they're ready, but a lack of self-confidence stands in their way. Kaboom! Cutie mark.
Then we get the falling action and the CMC reaffirm their roles.
And in the background, hey ladies, look at my tail end. You know, for kids.
Still, there's one big thing about this episode that's still bugging me. We don't see what their new arc is. I feel that without an end goal in mind, these characters will get stagnant. Without the new dream, their story ends.
I'd say they're applying what they learned in Crusaders of the Lost Mark. It's not the goal, but the process that's fulfilling. But I see your point. Protagonists must grow and change. Our Crusaders are no longer protagonists. Now they get to mentor other protagonists toward their changing growth. They're supporting characters, or sometimes even antagonists if they force growth onto a protagonist. That is their new role, and I see that as a bright future.
Sure, I think they can get away with 1 or 2 episodes maybe basking in the glory or settling into their new roles as mentors. But if we're going to continue following these characters, they either need a definite conclusion or they need a new goal. Otherwise, it'll feel like they're spinning their wheels.
With the show ending, do they need to spend more time with them?
They need a conclusion at the very least, otherwise I'm gonna feel a little strung along. The CMC are great characters and have been important to the show since season 1, and they deserve better than just being phased out. They should end on an explosion, not a whimper.
What for you would constitute a fulfilling conclusion to their story? Put your mouth where your money is?
Man, you're really putting me on the spot, ain't ya?
I consider it part of my job. I try to draw out and inspire the best in people.
Well, if it were my call, and if we insist on not having Crusaders of the Lost Mark be the conclusion, they need to expand the CMC's scope. Heck, I'm gunning for them to start a nationwide club like the Girl Scouts. We could just end it there. Sure, it's ambiguous, but at least it has an air of grandeur and finality.
I like it. I think you have a good intuitive sense of story. Time will tell if we get a conclusion like that, but that's not this episode. And for the How to Fix It guy, there's not a lot I see needs fixing here. Not a particularly ambitious episode, but it gets the job done, and that's a relief for me, because I've rained on poor Mr. Polsky's parade often enough.
For me personally, these looming ideas bring down the episode. I don't feel invested enough to spend time with these characters that they don't have any direction. A mere mention of a new goal or spanner in the works could have helped, but I feel that we're oddly still within the same status quo before they got their marks. They still had the same influence on the world around them. But I think the rest of the episode was alright. While the song didn't do it for me, a lot of the jokes and characters did. I was entertained throughout.
Isn't it time to check on your guards? Let's see if they've learned anything. Well, this is a blow to my pride as a teacher.
Don't take it too seriously. You'll keep your self-worth intact.